Hi everyone. How you guys doing today? Good, I hope. Yeah, Mr. X is in charge now. Let's see, who do we got in here? Confluence. Hello, beautiful. Robbie. So Robbie asked, what chapter am I on? I assume he's talking about the 48 Laws of Power. I've actually listened to the entire audiobook, but we're just going to kind of go over like the basics of it today. And then, yeah. So that should be fun. Sofa, hello. Grateful Nomad is here for the horrors. Queen of Osian. Bob Farrell, hello. Hi, Snooks. Crystal Ann. Crimson. Jim Terry, of course. LNG. Alley Cattails, hello. Let's see who else we got in here. Elephant Shoe. Simple Jack Live, welcome. My Girl High Frequency. Arkansas, hope you're doing good. Yeah, and we're not getting rid of Arkansas, Mr. X, sorry. I loves her. Captain Crime, hello. Hi, Phil. Wrenches are not for sale over here. I give them only to people that I know I can speak with outside of here that I trust to carry out what I'm doing. I mean, there's people in here I would probably trust, but if I don't have direct contact with them, then, you know, just in case. Tennille Suzanne, hello. Oops, what happened? Let's see who else is in here. Graham Knott, always a pleasure to see you. The Idaho Farmer, hi. Purple Pride. Happy Tree. Hey, Sancho. I think I said hello to everyone. If I missed anyone, sorry about that. Yeah, so basically, I don't know what made me think of it yesterday. Like, I kind of just, tickets, hello. Never seen you in here before, but welcome. Yesterday when I woke up, I just had the thought, like, I don't know, like I want to share the 48 Laws of Power with you guys. So we're going to go over the basics of that. And it's funny because when I actually listened to the audiobook, I realized that this is almost like the sociopath or narcissist like playbook in a way, you know? At least if they're good at what they do. And then you can also see the mistakes that some of them make when they out themselves and their mask slips, you know? There's certain things in here that I definitely do try to keep in mind myself that you guys might find useful. But there's also things that you can notice, you know, when you're aware of things like this, then when you see it playing out in other people's behaviors, then it's like it's easier to realize and know what you're dealing with, you know? So let's see. I feel all jittery. I'm like drinking this coffee. Maybe that wasn't a good idea at like 7:30 p.m. Anyways, we'll get started in just a minute. I'm like, what are you guys talking about in the chat? Is this worthwhile reading? Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't actually read it. I listened to the audiobook. I put the link in the description. You can actually listen to it for free on YouTube. It's like 10 hours long almost. So, you know, you would probably want to listen in sections. I like to binge watch or listen to stuff like that. Like whenever I have a day that nothing else is going on and I'm just like off work and stuff, I'll like take, you know, the phone into the bathroom with me while I'm taking a shower. I'll be listening while I'm driving, you know, like just stuff like that. But for people who don't have that long of an attention span for stuff like this, you know, you could listen to it in sections. Where's Gemini? You know, I'm actually a little bit worried because messaged him earlier while he was at work, and then I haven't heard from him since he got home. So I hope he came home and like went to sleep or something. I don't know. It's kind of unusual. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But a whole bunch of rappers have cited this work in their songs. Yeah. I mean, there's good stuff in there. My favorite law, I think, is law number 5, which we'll obviously get to. But is that is that no? That's not. I'm all where at. I don't. I have my little tree and my Buddha waterfall. I don't know. Who was that was saying that? Oh, that was Mr. X, huh? That's funny. Gemini lives in an RV off Avenue S. No, he does not. He lives in Lancaster, first of all, but right down the street from me. Hey, Seorg. Like I told you, you ain't gonna get timed out or blocked over here, so there you go. Let's see. It was you. That's what Arkansas told you. No, she did not. How would she know? That's just silly. No. Rule number 1, quit eating cane sugar and buy white satin to support the Idaho farmer. I like the brown sugar, or not brown sugar, but like the raw, it's kind of like a brownish color, like the all natural sugar or whatever. I don't know what white satin is, but I don't know. Sugar is sugar. High fructose, corn syrup, like it's all the fucking same, right? No. Some's a little bit more genetically modified than others. Sugar in the raw, yeah, that's the one that I like. Yeah, where has Lacey H been? You know what though? She stopped by my live last Monday when I was at the beach. And she said that she's been not watching YouTube as much and she's been doing like, real life stuff. And she said that it's freed her a lot. So, that's good. Mr. X knows everything. Sometimes. But you don't know what I mean when I tell you that ecstasy saved my life, just saying. But you know most things. You probably don't want to know about that anyways. Yeah, I think Lacey H is okay. Like I said, she had stopped by when I was at the beach, and she just said that like she hasn't been keeping up on all the drama that's been going on ever since, the events that took place, and that she feels so much like freer and everything by doing, stuff that she used to do. Oh, which by the way, I was going to show you guys uh last week I was talking about a painting that I'm doing for my mom, so now that I'm not like in the glaring sun, maybe I could show you guys just like a little picture of my current like what it currently looks like at the moment. It's not done yet, obviously. I still got to do like the sky, but hold on. Get it to focus. Yeah, why is it? There we go. Can you guys see a little bit how it's like a sunset on the beach or whatever? Maybe if I turn the brightness down. Let me see. You could see it a little bit. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah. That looks like Avenue J, Mr. X? No, it does not. Well, and thank you, Mr. X, by the way, for the Cash App, $2. It says for show your tits. That's fucking hilarious. But I appreciate it. I'm not going to show my tits. This is not a late night Lincoln Kane stream. that has to get deleted because people don't know how to keep their tits off YouTube, you know. But let's see. Thank you, Grateful Nomad. I hope so. Thank you, Graham Knott, for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate that. And Mr. X, you got to quit sending me nudes. I told you about that. No, I'm just messing with you. That's what I said to Jim earlier in Bob's chat. And he was like, I can't remember what all he said. And then I was like, oh, you know what? My bad. That was Mr. X. Just messing around with you, though. Request a refund. That's funny. Okay, let's see. I'm like, fun fact. Sugar is sugar no matter the source, but cane sugar sucks. Why is that? What's wrong with it? I know that like back in the day when sugar became a thing, like the royals absolutely loved it. I don't know. Boobs over con men all day, every day. Yeah, that's real rich when there's like nasty bitches co-signing certain behaviors of con men, and then they want to talk shit about us for like if we've ever sent someone a topless photo, like we're trash. It's like, no, bitch, you're trash for supporting the dude fucking next to you and getting a tattoo of his fucking channel on your arm like a weirdo. But I digress. You're really shy. You would never do that. I don't think you would. What about Lincoln cane sugar? That's funny. Royals have bad teeth, brush and floss after sugar. Yeah. Because I don't raise cane sugar, eat that white satin brand sugar made from the greatest sugar beets in the country. So cane sugar just sucks because you don't raise it. Okay, got it. Org uses Flint water in his coffee. That's scary. And if people don't know what he's talking about Flint, Michigan, where they have really, really bad water. I'm pretty sure that they've had like lawsuits and stuff over that, right? Because people get sick and stuff from drinking it. I don't know. Okay, let's see. So, you guys ready to start looking at the 48 laws of power? Let's see, how many likes do I have over here? No. How do I tell that while the live is going? I don't know. I don't know. Well, fuck it. You guys lucked out today because I can't tell while the live is going. No. No, let's see the tits. Oops. Oh, I got 44 likes. Cool. Thank you, Confluence, for the $2 super sticker. I appreciate it. Oh, refresh YouTube. That's true. I could do that, but it don't matter. I'm just saying. Hit the like button if you haven't hit it yet. Let people know that we're live over here. Or ask a mod. Yeah, I could do that. There you are. I was just saying that I was worried about you because I hadn't heard anything from you. And yeah. Yeah, and give me money via the Cash App if you would. So like to do the alchemical goddess. Thanks, Mr. X. Appreciate it. Hi, Alexis P. Welcome. 49 likes. Okay. That's awesome. I won't make you guys get to 50. It's okay. All right. So let's share my screen here. Okay. Alrighty. So Law number 1 says never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please or impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. So, what do you guys think of that? Mr. X says, listen up, Jim. I am the master. You watch me. What this is basically saying is you have to, first of all, know your place. No, this is not a satanic occultism book. But I wouldn't doubt that Satanists or occultists use this philosophy. But, yeah, so basically it's saying, first of all, know your place in the hierarchy. And then don't try to go out of your way to outshine those above you, because then they might look at you and go, oh, this person's competition. We have to get rid of them now. So that's, I mean, and you can use that in like where it would be appropriate would be like a work environment or, something like that. Or even, I mean, oh, hold on. I got another Cash App for $1.52 from, I don't know if you want me to say your name on here, but I'll just say S Queen. She said, blow us a kiss. So there you go. And okay. So yeah, like let's say that you're at work and then your boss is like, hey, can you do this and this and this? And then you're like, yeah, and then you do a bunch of extra shit too. That might be a little bit intimidating to them. So, you just basically want to know your place is what it's saying. And don't go too far above and beyond when it's not the time and place for that, because it could actually have the opposite effect of what you're trying to accomplish there. So, yeah, know your role. Exactly. Okay, let's see. Law number 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Be wary of friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy, and he will be more loyal than a friend because he has more to prove. In fact, you have far more to fear from friends than from enemies. If you have no enemies, find a way to make them. Thank you, the Idaho Farmer, for the $1.99 for Gemini's Lobster Dinner Fund. That's funny. So what do you guys think about this one? Phil said, it's the art of war. Play the game enough to placate those above you, then step on them to climb the ladder. We're not at that part yet, Phil, but that is coming. I feel this one made some good friends from antagonistic relationships at first. Well, I think the thing about never trusting your friends too much and actually using your enemies and stuff, exactly, Mr. X, like that's how I feel, that it's bullshit. I'm not hiring anyone I don't trust or want to be around. But I think the point of it is the fact that when you trust your friends and then they betray you, like, first of all, that shit hurts and you don't see it coming, so you get completely caught off guard. Whereas I think it's saying in certain situations, at least with your enemies, you know where they stand. So it's almost like you're still not going to put too much trust in your enemies neither, and it's not telling you to do that. It's just saying learn how to use them to your advantage. Like, It's ultimate psychological warfare to know your role, but desire more and plan for more. Yeah. That chapter also talks about why it's good to choose the right enemy, etc. Yeah. Yeah, we're just going over like the basics right now, but there is a lot more to it. But yeah. Yeah. What the fuck? I didn't add nobody on Snapchat. What the fuck? I just got a text. It's like, your friend has added you back on Snapchat. Like, I don't even use Snapchat like that. Like, I use it for filters, like on holidays, but that's weird. Anyways, I think someone's trying to send me a fucking grab link or some shit, probably. How about this? Don't hire anyone who's an ex con. Yeah, that's probably a good start. I mean, and yeah, Robbie said, if you're worth a damn in any category, you're going to make enemies. This is true. Because people are going to be envious and shit. Like, your friends will end up becoming your enemies sometimes too, because, like it said, you know, they're easily aroused to envy. So, okay, let's see. Law number 3, conceal your intentions. Keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you are up to, they cannot prepare a defense. Guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelop them in enough smoke, and by the time they realize your intentions, it will be too late. Wes, be nice. Play nice in my chat, at least. Let's see. I would be happy to have a background test and drug test on me at any time. Mr. Hicks. I lost a few friends after college when careers went different ways and they were unhappy. Yeah. Your greatest, most tactful enemy won't let you know they're your enemy. That's what people have to be careful of. Exactly. Exactly. And when it says conceal your intentions, I think that that's just saying, like, whatever. That's also a good idea in a way, like, not just to hide what you're doing from people, but so that you don't set people up for expectations and then let them down, or, you know, stuff like that. Danny, call me 24 hours. Time starts now. What do you mean? I don't know your phone number. But yeah, so I'm like, I don't want people like fighting in my chat or whatever, because everything's fine right now. So um yeah, and then also, like, with concealing your intentions, let's say that you have a really good idea for something, and you yeah, it's a power play, but it could be used against you if you tell people too much, because you might have a really good idea for something and you start talking to people about it, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to launch this in, you know, like 5 days from now, and then 3 days later your enemy goes and releases the shit that you had the idea for that you were going to do, you know, and then so it's not brand new and like cutting edge or whatever when you do it. So that's basically what that one's saying. Figure it out, your friends know it. Okay, well, I see the rule Idaho farmer. In my opinion, it's dumb. The people who go for AAR campaigning like a political office, I don't like the diversity rule at this point in time. I think it's dumb. I missed part of that conversation. Okay, let's see. Law number 4, always say less than necessary. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Even if you are saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish, which I think we've all seen like play out in real life, where people just talk and talk and talk, and then it's like before you know it, they've said something that they probably shouldn't have, and they might not even mean, but you know. Thank you, Alley Cattails. Because it makes you more curious. Mysticism sells. Exactly. This worked really well for me at the start of my career. When I spoke less during meetings, the more people listened when I did speak up. That too. Then it seems like when you do speak, it's more valuable. Because when you have somebody who just talks and talks and talks, then they open their mouth and everybody's like, oh, fuck, this person again. You know, like they always got to fucking hear their voice. Like they got to say something just to hear themselves speak. And then you don't really even hear what they're trying to say because you just tune them out. But that's true that when somebody doesn't speak so much, then when they do, it's like everyone stops to pay attention. Mr. X. I mean, so yeah. This one is my favorite law, I think. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Always be alert to potential attacks and thwart them before they happen. Meanwhile, learn to destroy your enemies by opening holes in their own reputations. Then stand aside and let public opinion hang them. And this one is something that I definitely agree with, because your reputation really is everything. And it ends up getting to a point when you build a good enough reputation and you act with integrity and you're consistent and authentic, your reputation speaks for itself. And then when people try to talk shit or they try to take you down, it's like you don't even have to give it any attention because people already know that it's not true, you know? It's better to be a master of your silence than a slave to your words. Exactly. Humans love to close the loop. We don't like unsolved mysteries or what's unresolved inside ourselves. That's true. Hi, Christine. Welcome. Hello, Tainted Ink. Twin Mama says, you teach people how to treat you. Yeah. So, like, for instance, when I had a situation with, you know, dumb no thanks. I don't want to say his name because he's not even worth it. And he tried to like totally slander me. It was like nobody believes him because they know better. Because I've made sure to guard my reputation and not allow people to fucking throw me like under the bus and shit. And it's not even because like I fight better or something. It's just because the things that they say are simply not true, and I've behaved in an authentic way with integrity, like for an amount of time, that it's not going to matter what anyone says. You know, it's like, okay, well, bring your receipts then if that's what you want to say about me, because otherwise nobody fucking believes you unless they're stupid and they don't know shit anyways. So, you know, I don't like those people anyhow and don't want them anywhere near me if they're that dumb. So, hi, Andrew. I'm doing good today. How are you? Okay, let's see. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd, then, or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all costs. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than the bland and timid masses. So, I mean, I think that there's a time and a place though. Like there's times when I would rather blend in with the crowd because it's better to not get involved in certain shit, you know? But at the same time, if you're going to, like, you might as well be the one running the show, right? Okay, let's see. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Use the wisdom, knowledge, and legwork of other people to further your own cause. Not only will such assistance save you valuable time and energy, it will give you a godlike aura of efficiency and speed. In the end, your helpers will be forgotten and you will be remembered. Never do yourself what others can do for you. Which I do believe in giving people the credit, though, for what they do. I mean, this one I kind of feel like is a little bit narcissistic. Like, I think that everyone has, if they make a contribution to something, it's important. Even if it's a small contribution, it's still important to let people know that you're grateful and appreciative. So this is one that I don't necessarily like. I see when you're in a situation where you're trying to climb a ladder that would be helpful, but at the same time, like for just my own moral standards, I don't really agree with that. But thank you, Joy Perry, for the 2.99 super sticker. I appreciate it. Yeah, taking credit for the group, you need to appreciate their efforts too. Yeah. Yeah, that is how big corporations work. But I mean, I still like, I feel like whenever I've worked for corporations and stuff, it's like I'm more apt to do better, more quality, more productive, more efficient work for a boss who lets me know that my contribution is noticed and it's important and it matters than somebody who just like gives orders and then, always giving criticism but never giving praise and stuff like that. I don't like that. Morality is key to maintain. Yeah, definitely. Why is it that like reading aloud makes you so much more dehydrated than just simply talking in conversation? I don't know. Just saying. Anyways. Okay. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It's always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards. I mean, that one definitely, I'm sure that there's been situations where we've been, I don't know, in a relationship or something, like probably like interpersonal relationships where you're in an argument with someone and then it's like you want to keep texting them and texting them and texting them. But in all reality, it's better to just kind of like wait and let them come to you, you know? I don't know. For me, that's usually the better option. I've heard it said maturity, the confidence to have no opinions on many things, right? It's hard to do breathing the same time as when you talk. You're used to pausing more normally. It takes practice. Yeah. Hi, Rontello. Hi, just me. Yeah, Gemini guy, you should you should take note of that one, Law 8. Like you'd probably get what you're looking for from the situation a lot faster if you just had a little bit of patience and let the person come to you. Just saying. Attraction is a whole other conversation. Which one sounds like you, Graham? The one where you're like you keep taking the action, or where you wait and let people come to you? Well, if they don't come, then you either need to use more bait, or they're probably not worth your time anyways. So yeah, patience is definitely key at times. Tell them you don't I think always have to respond to other stupid crap. Exactly. Oh, you're always the one texting. Yeah, and it almost like it's a good experiment too, if you wonder how someone feels about you, to not hit them up and see what happens. Like, would they even care enough to be the one to initiate? Because if you first of all, you don't know that until you give them a chance to do so. And sometimes you have to be patient, for an entire day or 2 days. But if they do end up contacting you, then you know that they really care. So, oh yeah, A Balance always does the best shows on Mr. Dougie Fresh over there. It's always funny. Not more bait, higher quality bait. Well, yeah, exactly. Oops. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will think it's stupid. That's a good one. Hi, Arizona Traveler. Silence is golden and duct tape is silver. Just saying. Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Yep, exactly. Okay, let's see. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Any momentary triumph you think you have gained through argument is really a Pyrrhic victory. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. It's much more powerful to get others to agree with you through your actions without saying a word. Demonstrate, do not explicate. So I do like that one because it's kind of like lead by example. You can try to convince someone of something all day, but if you actually walk the walk instead of just talk the talk, then people are more likely to see that and notice that. When they say actions speak louder than words, it's true. And you don't even have to say anything. It's like when somebody's constantly trying to convince you that they're a good guy, they're probably not. Like, you would already know that, and it would be redundant for them to say it if that were the case. So it's better to just like do the right thing, or do the things that you expect out of other people. And then also that leaves no room for anyone to even argue with you. I believe in walking the walk, and then after you do it, you shit talk them. That's funny. It's best to win over others by being who you are versus appeasing to their nature. That's true also. Authenticity, I think, is like one of my highest moral values. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else and tell them what to do and everything, but Like, I would prefer personally being around people who are authentic, even if I don't agree with or like every single thing that they do, but being able to trust in their consistency of being themselves, as opposed to them trying to people please me in front of my face and then having to worry that later it's going to be a whole different story depending on who we're around or, which way the fucking wind blows. Your gut knows when things are wrong. That is true. Yeah, energy is real and it's strong sometimes. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. And thank you, High Frequency, for the message you sent me earlier. So my mods are the best. I love when they follow directions for me. Okay, let's see. A doctor a day keeps the apples away. I think it's the other way around, but just saying, no. Okay, let's see. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. I like this one also. Yeah, misery loves company. Like, it's, or I'm trying to sound smart. Own up to when you're wrong, right? Exactly. But yeah, the misery loves company is like a huge one. I mean, we all already know that, but this one kind of goes with the law of attraction, where it's like almost like that fake it till you make it kind of attitude, where just already living a life where you have an attitude of optimism and good fortune, and you surround yourself with other people who have the things that you want, you're more likely to end up attaining them yourself, just because you're in the situations where those doors might open for you. If you're around people who are always complaining and they're like focused on how life is fucked up and all that stuff, it's like you're never going to go anywhere, because no opportunities are going to present themselves, because these people are not in a situation to offer you anything, and they probably don't have people around them doing anything that's going to help you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the sad state that they're in. So yeah, there are a lot of emotional vampires. And they'll get pleasure in bringing you down. Like, that's the scary part. Like, there's even people who are so negative and so envious that they'll fuck up their own shit just to make sure you don't have nothing. They're like, fuck it, we're gonna burn all this shit to the ground. Like, who does that? But there's people who do. Someone better hear what you're saying, Danny. They about to get woke up. I mean, I hope a lot of people are listening. Like, I just want to help people help themselves. That's my goal. Don't let others steal your energy. Nope, nope, nope. If someone speaks ill of others, you end up spreading a bit of these poor thoughts, especially if someone has relationship trouble and perhaps a couple makes up, but the thoughts they spread remain. Yeah, I mean, it can happen like in a lot of different situations. Just anytime you're around negative people, it's like, and also as social creatures, we want to fit in and we want to contribute to conversations and we want to communicate and stuff like that. So it's like, If other people are talking about a bunch of negative shit and then you're like, yeah, but look at the beautiful sunshine and the flowers and the bunnies and, the rainbows, and those kind of people that are in that like negative frequency, they'll look at you and just be like, what the fuck is your problem? So you're going to be more likely to not say positive shit and try to raise them up. You're going to be more likely to complain with them because it's easier. It's easier to go with the flow that way. But in reality, we should be, like leading by example and whatever. And if you can't get other people to follow your lead, then just detach from them, because they're not ever going to do anything but bring you down. So, Okay, let's see. Next one. Man, there's 48 of these things. We're on number 11. Okay. Learn to keep people dependent on you. To maintain your independence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more freedom you have. Make people depend on you for their happiness and prosperity, and you have nothing to fear. Never teach them enough so that they can do without you. Now, this one I disagree with, because personally, that's a lot of responsibility to make people dependent on you. I don't really want people dependent on me. Like, I'd rather we all have our independence. And like I was just saying, like, I want to teach people, I want to help people help themselves. That way they don't have to come to me for help with shit. It's like I got enough of my own shit going on. But I can see when you're in a situation where you would need power or status over other people, it would make sense that there's people who need you. Because otherwise, then you have no one to have power over. Like, but yeah, I don't really, in my personal life, I would not necessarily follow that one. So, okay, law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. I already have a problem with the use of the word victim, but one sincere and honest move will cover dozens of dishonest ones. Open hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in their armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, will serve the same purpose. Yeah, this is totally love bombing, and I feel like this is the the epitome of the way that narcissists like get in people's good graces and gain their trust and all that. Like being extremely generous, seeming to be honest, pretending that they care, and really they're just gathering information. So they'll be like the most attentive listeners you could ever imagine. Like, oh really, tell me more about that time when you were this vulnerable, and when you were hurt, and you're just like, oh wow, this person really cares about the things that I've been through, and they're the first person to ever really listen to me. And then next thing you know, you're in an argument with them and they're throwing it in your face, using it against you. And you're just like, what the fuck? I told you that in confidence because I thought you cared. But, you know, yes. Thank you, Alley Cattails. I appreciate that. How to be a manipulating sociopath. Yes. Saying I love you to everyone they talk to. Arkansas did that to you. You guys are funny. Let's see. Okay. And then let's see, next one. Kindness is free. Don't be a dick all your life. Exactly. Okay, law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. If you need to turn to an ally for help, do not bother to remind him of your past assistance and good deeds. He will find a way to ignore you. Instead, uncover something in your request or in your alliance with him that will benefit him and emphasize it out of all proportion. He will respond enthusiastically when he sees something to be gained for himself. And I actually do like this one only because it does help when you're trying to get somebody to help you and do something for you. If you can give them some kind of like payout in return, like an immediate payout, as opposed to just like, well, you fucking owe me because I was there for you when you needed me and stuff. Like, people don't like to hear that because then they just feel like shit for ever even asking you for help. So it is better to be like, look, if you could do this for me, then, it will benefit you because of this reason or that reason. Or in the meantime, while you're doing that, I can help you with this. And, so I do like that one only because it's more like a teamwork, and people are a lot of times motivated by their own self-interest. So it's just more likely that you're going to get agreeableness. So I do agree with that one. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead. Better still, play the spy yourself. In polite social encounters, learn to probe. Ask indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. There is no occasion that is not an opportunity for artful spying. This one I don't really like only because it's deceptive. And I don't know. I have a hard time not being authentic and not being honest and stuff. And I think that it's fucked up when people are like that. But at the same time, I'm not trying to like fuck people over neither. If I were, I would understand why people would need to use this as a tool though. So, I mean, like if you're already working with a person who's deceptive, then this would make sense. But I just wouldn't be the type to apply this in every single kind of situation because I'm not a paranoid person like that. Maybe I should be sometimes, I don't know, but a lot of it seems deceptive. Tests for the person. How do you form a real relationship while you do this? That's exactly the point that I'm making. Like in real life, it probably, it's not the way that I operate, but at the same time, I've been hurt by people because of my readiness and willingness to trust them. So, it just sucks. I'd rather not go through life assuming that people are like ill-intentioned by nature. You know what I'm saying? You don't like that one? Yeah, me neither. To know your enemy, you must become thy enemy. Yeah. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. I don't want enemies. Yuck. Yeah. You will be back. Okay, Mr. X. Sounds good. Okay, let's see. Next one. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. All great leaders since Moses have known that a feared enemy must be crushed completely. Sometimes they have learned this the hard way. If one ember is left alight, no matter how dimly it smolders, a fire will eventually break out. More is lost through stopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. Crush him, not only in body, but in spirit. I mean, I like this one. When it's necessary, when someone like has done something to you, you have every right to defend yourself in whatever way, to whatever degree you feel necessary to get the job done. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. I think it's our right and responsibility. But this is when you've already been wronged. I don't think that just because you've mentally determined someone's your enemy because they're competition or something, I don't think that this should necessarily be carried out. But if somebody has done something to harm you, absolutely. Because it's true. It's like if it's like when, let's say that you have an attacker coming at you and you shoot them in the foot, for instance, like they could still remember your face. Remember, like, let's say you call the cops and you're like, okay, well, I stopped him for now, and then they get out of jail, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they come back and retaliate against you for calling the cops on them, which is what the law says we're supposed to do, right? No, I would just be like, you're trying to come at me, like, well, may God be with you, because I don't want to say too many things on YouTube that are probably like, too much, but yeah, this is all subjective based on situation informed perception. Yeah, I mean, but there's definitely times like where that's absolutely 100% true. Like, if this is work dynamics for relationships and business, I don't see how it could help either. Well, if you're looking at it from like a capitalist point of view, you know, if you have some kind of competitor and the goal is to make money, it's better to completely eliminate the competitor period than to have to keep improving your own product. But I mean, I just don't really see it moral, but that's why we have like sociopaths who pretty much run the world, because they don't give a shit. Never appear too perfect. Envy creates silent enemies. It's smart to occasionally display defects and admit to harmless vices in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. That's true also. It's just bad to burn bridges. Always look for a common ground, I think, even if perhaps it's a clash of egos. I think so too. Hi, Troy. Welcome. Okay, let's see. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much circulation makes the price go down. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. If you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more talked about, even more admired. You must learn when to leave. Create value through scarcity. And I think that we see this one playing out right now. Like, with Jim and X, for example, I'll make an example out of them. Now that they're not on YouTube anymore, it's like when they do show up somewhere, everyone's like, oh my God, hey, what's up? I miss you, blah, 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 or like it makes people value them more, provided that you liked them in the first place. So I do see where they're coming from with that one, and I agree at times. Yeah, be a specialty, not a commodity, Ali Cattail said. Phil said, power ruins every political system ever invented on planet Earth, thus affecting the people. I do agree. Yep. I think that's why we don't need a reform. We need abolishment of the system, but I digress. Anyways, people should have personal responsibility for themselves, and, I think that that would be a lot better, but that's just my opinion. Keep others, Law 17, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control. Turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. Behavior that seems to have no consistency or purpose will keep them off balance, and they will wear themselves out trying to explain your moves. Taken to an extreme, this strategy can intimidate and terrorize. I mean, I see in like a war competition type situation where that would be helpful, but when you're trying to build real relationships with people, I don't see how that can ever be productive because, like I was saying earlier, like I would rather somebody's consistent in their authenticity than to just switch it up and you can't trust, if they're coming or going or what's going on. Like, I don't like that. But I do see how that could be helpful in certain situations. It's just, yeah, that one's confusing. Yeah, I mean, because it's like it makes sense, but when you're working legitimately with an enemy, I wouldn't say that that should be carried over into like every situation with, any kind of relationship with people. Like, Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information and makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. I like this one because, it's kind of like that thing, you can't live in a bubble. Like, basically, if you just look away from everything that makes you uncomfortable or everything that scares you, then you're never going to actually get out and live, And then you'll have nobody to call you and let you know that a threat is on the way if you don't have anybody to call. Like if you don't have a little network of people that actually care about you and stuff, because you've been isolated by yourself trying to hide from all of the evil or negative in the world, then what good is that? Because then anybody could come up on you and you don't even see it coming. Don't be afraid to take chances in love. I think you mean life, but love too. I mean, Law 18, baggage sucks. Oh, don't be afraid to take chances and live. Okay. What if I told you about using voice to text and then pressing enter without editing? Come on. I am back. Well, thank you for announcing. No. Just Me says, I like my bubble though. I know it is hard not to make those walls, but I mean, you still like, I feel like everyone should at least have a small group of people that they can let those walls down around. Otherwise, what's the point of even anything, really? I mean, as humans, we have social abilities and, the desire to connect with people. And if you're scared of every single thing, then, it's like, think about it. If we were still at the beginning stages of evolution and we were still more animalistic and living out in the wild, you might be able to survive a certain amount of time hiding, behind some bushes or up in a tree or something, but eventually something's going to come along and you're going to be stuck in a corner with nowhere to hide or nowhere to run, and it's going to get you. But if you can have like a team of, other little human animals with you that can like distract over here and, do this over there and whatever, and then, one of them attacks like the threat from behind and gets them, then you're all safe. That's why teamwork a lot of times is important with people that you really can trust. The best part of making a relationship is making yourself vulnerable to someone and learning about them. Yeah. And it does suck when you've been hurt before and then you're like giving that most sensitive, vulnerable piece of you to somebody and like being like, I know you're probably going to hurt me, but I'm going to trust you and hope that you don't anyways. Like, which that is what makes the relationship strong if it works out. But otherwise, it's the part that hurts the most. Okay, let's see. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. There are many different kinds of people in the world, and you can never assume that everyone will react to your strategies in the same way. Deceive or outmaneuver some people, and they will spend the rest of their lives seeking revenge. They are wolves in lamb's clothing. Choose your victims and opponents carefully, then never offend or deceive the wrong person. I mean, that one speaks for itself. I agree with that one. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. It is the fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. Now, I agreed with that one up until the point where it said playing people against one another, because I don't think that deceptive practices are moral or correct in pretty much any situation. So, but I do agree that, sometimes you let people fight their own fights and their own battles, and you pick and choose when it affects you that you need to get involved. Otherwise, it's like better sometimes to just stand back, because you can end up becoming the enemy when you didn't mean to, just by trying to help somebody, you know? Okay, Robbie. If we could just not acknowledge people with negative energy that are trying to like say negative stuff, that's usually the easiest, best way to um, combat it, because they get bored and move on. But if to keep like saying stuff back and forth is just going to keep it going. So that would be that would be my request that I'm going to say one time. And yeah, even telling people to stop is giving them attention. So just if somebody says some bullshit, just ignore them, you know? And that's the easiest way to address that. Because then they're just like, okay, well, I keep saying this and nobody cares. So. Okay. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. No one likes feeling stupider than the next person. The trick then is to make your victims feel smart. And not just smart, but smarter than you are. Once convinced of this, they will never suspect that you may have ulterior motives. Like, again, this is another, like, play from the Narcissist Handbook, it seems. Like, especially because it's talking about victims and ulterior motives and stuff. I wouldn't personally live my life by this, but I do see, like, I mean, it is definitely a manipulation tactic, which sometimes, like, I like to call it social engineering, because sometimes it is like necessary to manipulate a situation in your favor, especially if you're working with other people who are like deceptive to begin with, as like a okay, Wes, I'm gonna address you like one time. I haven't timed you out, I haven't blocked you, nobody said you don't have freedom of speech. What I'm saying is that the arguing back and forth is not necessary in my chat. I haven't done anything to you, so I think it's rude to me. Like, I'm obviously trying to do something like with a topic and shit right here, so it's a little bit different than just like a random like chat stream where there's 20 people up on the panel talking about like this, that, and the other. Like, I'm actually trying to like do something. So yeah, like I will block like everybody's freedom of speech, but I don't want to do that because that's not my style. But like I think it's rude to like target me and start talking shit in here when like it's not necessary. So, anyways, Law 22, use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Surrender gives you time to recover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror, time to wait for his power to wane. Do not give him the satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you infuriate and unsettle him. Make surrender a tool of power. I do think that one can be useful for sure, because like I mean I've spoken before about how I've used it with my son's dad, is that when we first had, you know, like a bunch of still emotional attachment whatever to our relationship, and then broke up and tried to do the co-parenting thing, like there was a lot of arguing and, you know, just because there was like personal emotion involved. But when I was able to let that go and realize that like there's only an argument if two people engage, and I would just like step back and be like, okay, whatever, if he wants to argue or say some stupid shit, I don't have to respond. Then it does make them like more mad for a second, but eventually they give up. And then you're really the one in control. Even though you want to respond and you want to say some shit back, but if you don't, it actually helps you to your benefit, and it makes the whole situation like a lot more peaceful, you know. I'm not sure how this is congruent with Law 12 earlier. Well, it goes into more detail if you actually like read the book or listen to the audiobook. It explains like what situations more so that it would be useful in, but yeah. It's really difficult to navigate relationships with these power dynamics sometimes. Well, in a relationship, like one that's actually valued and, you know, interpersonal and stuff, it's like there probably shouldn't really be power dynamics, you know. This is just in situations where you have to like watch out for for your enemy and stuff, like even when you might not actually want an enemy or be trying to get an enemy or whatever. Like on YouTube we see this shit happen all the time. Like, thank you Pencil for the $11 super chat. This has been great listening. You are on point as per usual. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, who is that? Equalizer? No. I don't know who Poonhammer is, but I'm like, oh dear. Okay, let's see. Um, Law 23, concentrate your forces. Conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. You gain more by finding a rich mine and mining it deeper than by flitting from one shallow mine to another. Intensity defeats extensity every time. When looking for sources of power to elevate you, you find one key patron, the fat cow, who will give you milk for a long time to come. I mean, I agree with that one. Basically, keeping your, I don't know about using it, you know, the comparison to a fat cow who will give you milk for a long time, but keeping your group of actual trusted individuals smaller, and, you know, keeping anybody else on a need to know basis and stuff like that, I think is helpful, even in personal relationships and, you know, personal interactions. Like, oh, thank you. You're so beautiful, said Gemini Guy. Thank you for the $20. You didn't have to pay me $20 to say that, but I appreciate it. You never know the truth. You know a truth. There isn't necessarily one truth. The truth can mean so many different things from different perspectives. There's always another side to a story. I do think there are situations where there's objective truth, though, but um, I feel like it's hard for a lot of people to understand that concept because they don't understand how to think. They just know what to think because that's how like school and stuff has conditioned us and our minds to work. So there are ways to evaluate objectively whether something is truth or not. Obviously not opinion, but like factual things or philosophies or whatever. But yeah, that'll be a whole show in and of itself one day. No. Oops. Hi, Watcher of Crazy. Thank you for coming by. These rules of power seem to involve a lot of leverage in interpersonal relationships, and it's not always applicable. Exactly. That's what I try to say. Like when I feel like it wouldn't apply, to, or it shouldn't apply to interpersonal relationships, but in certain settings, I can see how it's useful. It's just, I mean, I'm not a sociopath, so I don't go around like assessing every situation by like how much threat there is to me or how dangerous, or you know what I'm saying? It's just like I try to actually build like real relationships and friendships with people and stuff, which I think would be hard to really actually do if you were just living by this at all times. So Watcher of Crazy said, my philosophy is shut up and take me fishing. Well, for some people that might be totally doable. I'm not going to take you fishing because I don't want to go outdoors and get dirty, but we could go to the beach. No. I'll take you to the ocean, which is a different body of water. Okay. Um, Law 24. We're halfway there now. Jeez Louise. Play the perfect courtier or courtier. I don't know how you're supposed to say that word, whatever. The perfect courtier thrives in a world where everything revolves around power and political dexterity. He has mastered the art of indirection. He flatters, yields to superiors, and asserts power over others in the most oblique and graceful manner. Learn and apply the laws of courtiership, and there will be no limit to how far you can rise in the court. So that's another like knowing your place and knowing the right time to say and do things, like when it's appropriate and then other times when it's not, and being quiet in those times and stuff like that. I can understand that one. Okay, Law 25, recreate yourself. Do not accept the roles that society foist on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. I like this one too. Like determining who you're going to be and not, like it's good to go with the flow at times, but you shouldn't let other people determine who you're going to be or what you should look like, or like you'll never be happy that way. First of all, second of all, it's not authentic and people can sense that, and then you just end up getting used by others because they know that you'll do whatever they say in order to people please. And while being agreeable is a positive attribute, being a people pleaser is not so much, because it ends up creating resentments within you and, all kinds of things like that. Law 26, keep your hands clean. You must seem a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats and cat's paws to disguise your involvement. I liked that one up until it said using others as scapegoats and cat's paws to disguise your involvement, because if you just keep your hands clean to begin with, you don't got to worry about all that. And I don't think that that's fair. So, but I do agree with keeping your hands clean, just period. Law 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People have an overwhelming desire to believe in something. Become the focal point of such desire by offering them a cause and new faith to follow. Keep your words vague but full of promise. Emphasize enthusiasm over rationality and clear thinking. Give your new disciples rituals to perform. Ask them to make sacrifices on your behalf. In the absence of organized religion and grand causes, your new belief system will bring you untold power. I don't like this one, but we see it in action all the time. You know? Yeah, that one's interesting. I mean, there's a ton of people who, this is why we can't just abolish the system, because there's people who need someone to tell them what to do and they need something to believe in. And it's like, some people need someone to control them because they don't know how to control themselves without direction, and it's scary. Instead of people being empowered to have personal responsibility for their lives, they look outside of themselves for direction. And, you know, that's why you have like YouTube channels, for instance, where people just say all kinds of nonsense, and you got the whole chat being like, yeah, you're so right. And, you know, and they just believe whatever they're told. And it's like, that doesn't even make any damn sense. Like, what the fuck is wrong? But a lot of people don't think for themselves. I don't know. I mean, I see how this one is played out in real life all the time. It's just, it actually makes me really sad that that's the way it is. So, Law 28, enter action with boldness. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Sorry. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one honors the timid. And I mean, I see how this is like just having that confidence about you that, like, even if you do make a mistake or something, like, it's, you can correct that by just being like, yeah, I did make a mistake, and, you know, and trying to correct it or whatever. But if you're timid and like scared and whatever, then it just, you know, nobody respects that, and they see you as weaker and will take advantage of you. So I do understand this one. Okay, Law 29, plan all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Plan all the way to it, taking into account all the possible consequences, obstacles, and twists of fortune that might reverse your hard work and give the glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, and you will know when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help determine the future by thinking far ahead. Law 29 seems at odds with the way people date. True. I mean, back in the day, people used to date to, you know, get married and have a family and stuff. Unfortunately, now, yeah, people don't date that way. They just, you know, fuck whoever and then have all these kids without baby daddies in the life, and, you know, all kinds of crazy situations. Hi, Kathleen H. It's okay to be late. Better late than ugly is my motto for everything in life, but better late than never also. I appreciate you coming. Oops. Why did I do that? Hold on. Sorry. Mm-hmm. There it goes. Okay. One night stand lasted 40 years. Yeah. Yikes. That's what I mean. That's what ends up happening when people just, you know, you saw my galaxy. Yeah. I was like, I thought that I lost my whole screen. Thankfully, that was easy to bring back. But you and your hubby. Well, if you ended up getting married and stuff, then it worked out, right? Hopefully. I mean, hopefully it's not a miserable 40 years if it ended up being your husband. Okay. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. All the toil and practice that goes into them, and also all the clever tricks, must be concealed. When you act effortlessly as if you could do much more. Avoid the temptation of revealing how hard you work, it only raises questions. Teach no one your tricks, or they will be used against you. And this one, I do agree with. Sometimes your personal business, like everything that you have to put into something, whatever, is your business. And when other people when other people know too much of anything and they're not the right people that are in your corner, it will be used against you. Like every time, you still, not that people should be like fake or whatever, but it does help at times to be like calculated, or just well thought out when you decide how much of a story or how much of like a plan or something that you're going to communicate with others, because people will take any little nugget of information that they can and use it against you. Like it's happened so many times in history to all of us. Let's see. A trust fund always helps. I don't know what you're referring to with that, but shit, I wish that I had one. My parents didn't leave me no trust fund. They're still here though, so I guess maybe that's why. Okay. Control the option, or Law 31. Control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. Well, I already have a problem with this first sentence, but the best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel they're in control, but are actually your puppets. Give people options that come out in your favor, whichever one they choose. Force them to make choices between the lesser of two evils, both of which serve your purpose. Put them on the horns of a dilemma. They are gored wherever they turn. Now, I don't like the way that it said the best deceptions and your victims, but this actually, we called this my in my career of behavioral therapy, or ABA therapy. This is called shared control, where you basically like if, let's say, I'm working with a child and the parent wants them to eat something other than chicken nuggets because all they want to eat is chicken nuggets, right? So we'll start working with the child on eating other food items. And so you tell them, like, do you want to try peas or carrots today? Either way, the kid's eating their vegetables, right? But they think that because they got a choice in the matter, that they're in control. In reality, what they don't realize, you're the one in control because you didn't care which choice that they made. And so that's like an easy example of a way that this can actually be used to benefit somebody, but it's still manipulation. But this is where I was saying earlier that it's like manipulation is not always a bad thing, and it can have pure intentions behind it to actually help the person that you're quote unquote manipulating. But I mean, you can also do that, like if we look at, you know, the left wing or the right wing, like there's still two wings on the same damn bird. It doesn't matter which one we choose, we're fucked. Just saying. So in some situations, this is clearly used and people don't even realize it, especially on a very large scale. But I digress. Okay. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. The truth is often avoided because it is ugly and unpleasant. Never appeal to truth and reality unless you are prepared for the anger that comes from disenchantment. Life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasy are like oases in the desert. Everyone flocks to them. There is great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses, which kind of goes with what I was just saying. You give people a lot of promises of this better life if they choose this or they do that. And in reality, it's all a lie. And it's a big facade. But this is used in front of our faces all the time by the sociopathic powers that shouldn't be. Just saying. I don't like that one, though. Okay. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Oops. What did I do? Oh, man. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, a gap in the castle wall. That weakness is usually an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion or need. It can also be a small secret pleasure. Either way, once found, it is a thumbscrew you can turn to your advantage. I mean, again, I don't like finding ways to benefit off other people's weaknesses and insecurities, but in a self-defense situation where they've done it to you first, it can be helpful or useful to disarm them. I had a man do things with his thumb I never knew could feel so good. Watcher, I'm just saying, I'm not even going to elaborate, but I feel you. Yeah. Arkansas said, oh, dear Lord. Okay. Mr. X, no. No, no, no. Okay, let's see. Which one are we on? 34. Okay, so we have 14 more. I need to take a short bathroom break. I hope that's okay with everyone. Please don't go anywhere. I will be right back. I'm going to put some music for you guys, but I'm sitting here I'm not going to make it for another 14 of these. So sorry about that. Please hold. Okay. I feel much better now. Get back here. And let's see. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. I'm like just making sure that I didn't miss anything relevant in the chat. Looks like you guys were entertaining yourself, so thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. So now we are on number 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. The way you carry yourself will often determine how you are treated. In the long run, appearing vulgar or common will make people disrespect you. For a king respects himself and inspires the same sentiment in others. By acting regally and confident of your powers, you make yourself seem destined to wear a crown. I like this one a lot. I don't see how that can be harmful for anybody, really, to just have self respect and act in a way that makes you appear like you're royalty and you're worthy of, kindness, respect, stuff like that. So that's a good one. Let me see. Okay. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Never seem to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a lack of control over yourself and over time. Always seem patient as if you know that everything will come to you eventually. Become a detective of the right moment. Sniff out the spirit of the times, the trends that will carry you to power. Learn to stand back when the time is not yet ripe and to strike fiercely when it has reached fruition. I definitely do like this one as well. Timing is everything. You know, that saying doesn't exist for nothing. Uh, confluence, perfect timing, checking back. Yeah. I'm all. And that's funny that it's talking about timing on Law 35. Like, I know that timing is everything. It really is. Sometimes it's, you don't have to, if somebody tries to do something to strike you, you don't have to strike back right away. Sometimes you could sit back and just wait, just wait. And when the time is right, you will always know. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. By acknowledging a petty problem, you give it existence and credibility. The more you pay an enemy, the stronger you make him, and a small mistake is often made worse and more visible when you try to fix it. It is sometimes best to leave things alone. If there is something you want but cannot have, show contempt for it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem. Which goes with what I was just saying, like the art of timing and ignoring things that are not a big deal, I totally agree with that. That's why, like, there's certain shit that people say and do that I don't even pay attention. Like, a lot of stuff I don't even, like, when it comes to YouTube, there's a lot of shit I don't even watch anymore because there's no point. This one feels as if it is a problem. It resists communication. Shouldn't you want to talk to your partner? Well, if it's somebody that's like in your circle and stuff, then yeah, you should obviously like communication is key. But I think it's talking more so in situations where you have someone in life who's like trying to hurt you or trying to argue with you, trying to attack you. You know, we see it on YouTube all the time where it's like someone will say something and then the other person wants to address every single little thing. And in reality, yeah, this is about power. So it's in a situation where you would need to assert power over the situation. So there's a lot of times where like let's say that there's some little channel that was talking shit about me, and most people would not even know that this person exists. But let's say that I go and say, oh well, so and so said that I'm a whore and you know, whatever. Now all these people are going to flock over to that channel. They're going to want to see the next dramatic thing that happens. They're going to subscribe, you know, like this whole community of people are going to be built over there, when if I had just not said anything because they were irrelevant to begin with, then nobody would even know. Maybe what, 5 people or something, like who gives a shit. So that's kind of what it's saying, like just if if you can ignore a situation, like you don't have to address every single thing. Like it actually gives you the power and creates a more beneficial situation for you. Even if you want to like address everything, it's like you don't need to, because a lot of times people don't even know that that was said, or they don't care anyways, or they don't believe it, you know. I understand how the philosophy can be applied. Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, YouTube is such a great social experiment. I'm sure that there's people who watch all this shit and just take notes, and it's probably like a whole one day, like it'll be a whole file that gets declassified or some shit. You know what I mean? Because this is like literally like such a social experiment that's going on with the way that people interact here on the internet, especially when we're on camera and we have platforms and, you know, audiences that can be interactive. And anyways, okay, that was my little soapbox for a second. Now I'm just rambling on. Okay, law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Striking imagery and grand symbolic gestures create the aura of power. Everyone responds to them. Stage spectacles for those around you, then full of arresting visuals and radiant symbols that heighten your presence. Dazzled by appearances, no one will notice what you are really doing. So this is like that whole smoke and mirrors thing that magicians rely on in order to pull some kind of like trick of the hand or whatever. This can also be done just, you know, in people's behaviors. If they're trying to deceive you, like they'll be like, oh well, look at this and what I did over here, and then like you don't even realize that they, you know, like let's say that somebody raises a bunch of money for some grand like object or thing that they're trying to do, and they have everyone on board and they're like, oh but look at this, it's so shiny and pretty what I'm going to buy with your GoFundMe money. And then you don't even realize that they put 2/3 of that money in their pocket so that they could go buy a sack of crystal meth or something with it. You know what I'm saying? But but because people are like so in awe by the grand scheme of things, they don't realize that they're actually being conned or screwed over. Like, yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Exactly, exactly. Okay, let's see. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. If you make a show of going against the times, flaunting your unconventional ideas and unorthodox ways, people will think that you only want attention and that you look down upon them. They will find a way to punish you for making them feel inferior. It is far safer to blend in and nurture the common touch. Share your originality only with tolerant friends and those who are sure to appreciate your uniqueness. Now, this one I relate to so much because I started a whole journey of knowledge seeking and esoteric studies and all kinds of things in about like 2012, so what, like 11 years ago by now. And it just, I used to try to talk to people about like all these different like things I was learning, all this occult knowledge, like all this symbolism, and when I realized how to decode certain things, and I know what this really means, and like I was trying to share stuff with people and be like, look, let me help you, let me give you this knowledge that I came across. And it's like people just looked at me like I'm a fucking weirdo, you know? And it was like, you realize that certain things are occulted, meaning kept secret or hidden from sight or hidden from knowledge for a reason, because people are not ready for that yet. And it makes you realize that sometimes you should just shut up, because you're actually like ostracizing yourself. When people are ready for the knowledge, they'll, then you could give it to them. But if they're not ready, it's just like, there's a lot of things that I could share sometimes, and I'm just like, I keep my mouth shut, because it won't do any good anyways, basically. People can be super uncomfortable when you try to level up or develop personally too. Yeah, that's true also. They want to keep you where they are, not see you for who you can be. Yeah. They can't handle the truth. It's true, Arkansas. I don't know who the fuck Poonhammer is, but that's funny. Anyways, I would advise against doing that at the buffet, but just saying. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and emotion are strategically counterproductive. You must always stay calm and objective. But if you can make your enemies angry while staying calm yourself, you gain a decided advantage. Put your enemies off balance. Find the chink in their vanity through which you can rattle them, and you hold the strings. I like that one. It's like in a situation. This is why people who are like sociopathic and unempathetic, unemotional, narcissistic, why they're able to a lot of times win situations where they might not even be right, but what they're able to do is take a person with a more emotional nature, and like let's say there's a court situation for custody of the kids, and you have a narcissist, like even let's not be stereotypical with the men and women, but let's say you have a narcissistic woman versus an empathetic guy who's more emotional and stuff like that, and they go in front of the judge, and he's trying to like spit out everything that this woman does, and the ways that she's destructive and harmed their family, and is not a good example for their children and stuff. But he's got so much emotion behind it that he seems like the one who's emotionally off balance, and she's standing there like calm, cool, and collected, like, I have no idea what he's talking about. You see, this is what he does. He gets all worked up, and then it ends up being used against the person who's actually in the right. So it's important to maintain control over your own emotions. And this is definitely something that, like in the example I was just making, people who are able to do that, if they do have ill intentions behind the moves that they're making and the things that they're doing, they will use it against someone who is not so much able to keep control of their emotions. And then everyone will look at you and be like, well, look how emotionally unstable you are. You know? I've had that told to me before when I was like, what the fuck? Like anybody would be emotional in this situation, but it's not always the right thing to act on that. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. What is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. What has worth is worth paying for. By paying your own way, you stay clear of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. It is also often wise to pay the full price. There's no cutting corners with excellence. Be lavish with your money and keep it circulating, for generosity is a sign and a magnet for power. Um, I like this one. That's always kind of been how I am. Like, I'd rather pay for comfort. I'd rather pay for, what I like or what I want than trying to just get the best deal out of something. And yeah, if someone offers you something for nothing, always be suspect. It's like when people get arrested for like receiving stolen property and they're like, but I didn't know it was stolen. Like, motherfucker, you bought like a big screen TV for $40 and you didn't think it was stolen? It wasn't in the box and didn't come with a remote? Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You just didn't ask questions because it benefited you. That's what actually happened. But you knew that that shit was most likely stolen, you know? We value what we are willing to pay for. Yeah. It's like, if you try to get like the best bargain or whatever, like, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with shopping around, but ultimately you should make a decision based on what's actually going to make you happy. Because a lot of times, if you go just based on what's the best deal at the time or whatever, there might be like hidden hidden agendas or hidden things within that are not actually good. Yeah, spare no expense. I mean, depending. Yeah. Buyer's remorse, exactly. Like, if everything, let's say that, you want to stay in a hotel and there's like hotel rooms, all of them around are like $300 a night, but you find one for 60. Yeah, what kind of bed bugs or prostitution or, drug dealers or like dangerous neighborhood or whatever is that hotel probably in? Like, you got to know that if it's that much different and it seems like too good to be true, that it probably doesn't look like the pictures and it's probably not all what it seems to be. Ends up being more trouble or time than money. Exactly. It costs everything. Nothing is for free. Everything costs something. It might not be financial, but it'll cost you in another way. Okay. Avoid Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. What happens first always appears better and more original than what comes after. If you succeed, a great man, or have a famous parent, you will have to accomplish double their achievements to outshine them. Do not get lost in their shadow or stuck in a past not of your own making. Establish your own name and identity by changing the course. Slay the overbearing father, disparage his legacy, and gain power by shining in your own way. I like that one. Instead of trying to like replace something, you want to be your own thing. That way you're not always a comparison. Like we see for instance, I'll just take like a little example that I could think of off the top of my head. Like, let's say Aaron Carter compared to like Nick Carter. Like, his brother already came first and was in the successful boy band and whatever, and it's like Aaron Carter might have had success, but you had to know he was going to be fucked up mentally just because he's in his brother's shadow. He's always not going to be his brother, he should have done acting or something as opposed to like trying to also have a singing career, and maybe he wouldn't have ended up where he did, you know Law of the result. When you try to prove to someone that a machine won't work, it will. Is that true? Hmm. I'm gonna have to remember that because I feel like there's all kinds of times where technology is like working against you. You know what I mean? Maybe you have to just be like, yeah, I know that it's not going to work. And then like, what's the thing? I'm like a reverse psychology kind of thing. I didn't know it worked on machines too, but variation law. If you change lines or traffic lanes, the one you were in will always move faster than the one you are in now. No, that's not true. Not if you look far enough ahead. I can navigate my way through some traffic. Southern California traffic on like the 405 freeway or something, like, provided I could get through my path, like, I could navigate that shit. Just saying. But usually, I mean, there are times though, like the line at the grocery store, that always happens to me though, for sure. Okay. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a single strong individual, the stirrer, the arrogant underling, the positioner of goodwill. If you allow such people room to operate, others will succumb to their influence. Do not wait for the troubles they cause to multiply. Do not try to negotiate with them. They are irredeemable. Neutralize their influence by isolating or banishing them. Strike at the source of the trouble, and the sheep will scatter. That happens. Like, right? I hate that. I usually try to stay back enough so that, like, I'm not pulled all the way forward that I have to make that commitment until like the last second where I know that the choice I'm about to make is correct. Like, identify the alpha and either appease them or kick them out seems difficult if you run into a clash of heads. True. But then you let them battle that out. I don't know. So yeah, I could see how that works in real life. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. But sometimes the sheep just form new pens, and they get a new shepherd because they need someone to control them. I don't know. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. Coercion creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn. And the way to seduce others is to operate on their individual psychologies and weaknesses. Soften up the resistant by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. Ignore the hearts and minds of others, and they will grow to hate you. And this is what you see in effect when you have like people who will like have a common enemy, and then they'll flock together because of that, because they're using the other person's weakness to that person, like in their advantage, yeah, like forming your cliques and whatever. Like, this seems to fit with the new law. Either take over their clique or undermine them by forming your own and succumbing them. Exactly. Yeah, flying monkeys. But it's like you have to appeal to, if you're trying to manipulate people and get them on your side, you want to appeal to the things that work on their hearts and minds. That's why you have people like, let's say in the true crime community, YouTube creators that are total tragedy pimps, but they get a loyal following because, a lot of the audience is women with children. So when you're talking about children who are missing or they've been hurt by somebody, that's going to like tug at the mother's heartstrings. And then they think like, oh, this person's doing such good work for this missing child. And in reality, all they're doing is taking advantage of you to make money off you. And then they're like, it's not about the money. It's about, so and so, whatever, insert missing child's name here. Yeah, right. That could be any missing child. Like, you don't give a shit about that kid. Like, you would be actually worse off if they were found, because you wouldn't be able to talk about them on YouTube no more. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen this and just been like it at first it seems like the person's doing good work, but then it becomes so blatantly obvious at a certain time that like this missing child is just being totally exploited, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I wasn't gonna say any names, Mr. X, but you read my mind here. Just saying. Law of close encounters. The probability of meeting someone you know increases dramatically when you are with someone you don't want to be seen with, or when you leave your house without makeup. That's why my philosophy is better to be late than ugly. That way I don't have that problem. No. Okay. I'm like, we're almost done here. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. The mirror reflects reality, but it is also the perfect tool for deception. When you mirror your enemies doing exactly as they do, they cannot figure out your strategy. The mirror effect mocks and humiliates them, making them overreact. By holding up a mirror to their psyches, you seduce them with the illusion that you share their values. By holding up a mirror to their actions, you teach them a lesson. Few can resist the power of the mirror effect. No, that one I haven't really considered that much. I mean, well, actually, I guess this does. Actually, I could think of a perfect example where this proves to be true. Let's say that somebody, like, they go and dox a bunch of people. But then when that happens to them, when their truth is exposed, they don't like it very much. And then it's even worse when, when someone's truth is so bad that then they start making up lies about you to respond and stuff like that, because that's all they got. They're like, they become desperate and don't know what to do because they're so afraid of their own psyche, their own truth, their own past. I mean, we see this in action all the time. I'm not saying that I believe it's the right response or way of action, but we can see the way that this is true nonetheless, Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Everyone understands the need for change in the abstract, but on the day-to-day level, people are creatures of habit. Too much innovation is traumatic and will lead to revolt. If you are new to a position of power or an outsider trying to build a power base, make a show of respecting the old way of doing things. If change is necessary, make it feel like a gentle improvement on the past. We see this in action all the time. David Icke calls it the totalitarian tiptoe, where basically if the powers that shouldn't be were to implement the actual changes that they want upon society all at once, it would be obvious and people would be like, oh no, fuck that. Like, let's say, for instance, lockdowns, or actually I should stop saying keywords, like safer at home type deals that we all did during a certain time in history. If they just wanted to keep us inside for no reason, like, everyone would have been like, fuck that, you ain't gonna tell me that I have to stay in my house. But when they introduced one little thing at a time and then made people scared and made them believe that that kind of change was necessary, then people were more than willing to stay in their homes. People were more than willing to, like, lose all their financial stability and stop going to work. And because these little things that made us fear based in trauma and whatever were implemented one at a time, like, and before you know it, it's been like over a year where people, their entire lives were turned upside down. you know? And in reality, that could have been just something that could have been the point to begin with. We don't know. Well, I don't want to get too deep into stuff like that, but you know, we all saw that in practice, definitely in the year 2020. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Appearing better than others is always dangerous, but most dangerous of all is to appear to have no faults or weaknesses. Envy creates silent enemies. It's smart to occasionally display defects and admit to harmless vices in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. Only gods and the dead can seem perfect with impunity. And also, I think it's just important to get ahead of any skeletons that somebody might try to pull out of your closet and just admit them and be accountable to begin with. Arkansas says, the law of physical surfaces. The chances of an open-faced jelly sandwich landing face down on a floor covering are directly correlated to the newness and cost of the carpet or rug. That's probably true. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah. That's funny. I feel like 35 and a half of these can be applied to YouTube circumstances. Exactly, Sancho. That's why I got the idea yesterday morning when I woke up that I wanted to talk about it because I felt like people would recognize certain shit and be like, oh, yeah. Say it again for the people in the back. Not and a half, right? Like, I'd say probably like 45 out of 48 of these. No. Probably all 48 we could think of examples. Okay. Law 47, almost there. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. The moment of victory is often the moment of greatest peril. In the heat of victory, arrogance and overconfidence can push you past the goal you had aimed for, and by going too far, you make more enemies than you defeat. Do not allow success to go to your head. There is no substitute for strategy and careful planning. Set a goal, and when you reach it, stop. So, I mean, we see what happens when people get too successful. It creates all new enemies. People don't like seeing someone climb a ladder really fast, get too successful, make too much money, whatever. Like, that really pisses people off. People are fucking pocket watchers for no reason. And they do not like that. So, I mean, sometimes that can be the reason for people's defeat, unfortunately, like, because there's fucking haters out there. Cash out when you hit it big. Now you're speaking in language, Arkansas, that I don't like because I'm a gambler and I don't know how to cash out, okay? No, this is why I always leave the casino broke. No. Except for the last time that I went. Well, not when I went to State Line, but when I went to Yamava with Gemini, I actually left with money. It was like I couldn't stop winning. It was like, if I don't leave now, then I am going to put all my money back. And we had already been there for like 12 hours. So I was like, we should probably go. Like, I'm bored of all these games now. No? But that's a rare occurrence. Cashing out is hard to do. It really is. Especially when you're on such a streak, you're like, but it's so fun and I keep winning. Like, and then, yeah. And then they realize that. Then they take all your money. No. Okay. Law 48, last one. Assume formlessness. By taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. Instead of taking a form for your enemy to grasp, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Accept the fact that nothing is certain and no law is fixed. The best way to protect yourself is to be as fluid and formless as water. Never bet on stability or lasting order. Everything changes. The only thing consistent is change, right? So that one's just basically saying, at any point in time, you got to be ready to adapt to a situation that's unexpected or unwanted, or you didn't see it coming. And that is, a good way to, a good philosophy to live by, because you just never know what's going to happen. Every 100 I cash out. If I double or more, save ticket. Yeah, you know what I like to do? I like to have like house money is what I call it in my head, like where it's all, okay, so I brought, let's say, $200 and I plan to lose this. I'm going to spend it. I'm going to lose it. This is the cost of my fun tonight. So then anytime that I'm over 200, you cash out and then keep playing on the 200. Then you get over 200 again, cash out, put the 200 back. So then at the end of the night, if you kept doing that, let's say you put away $50 here, $100 there, 25 there, you end up at least leaving like close to even, or even with more money than you started with, basically. Terrible philosophy. Which one? Assuming formlessness? I mean, you never know though, like sometimes there's circumstances that we're not in control of, and if you can adapt, the more easily you can adapt, the better off that you are, and the faster that you can move on and do something else. Buffalo. Yep, exactly. So yeah, so what did you guys think of the 48 laws of power? I mean, like I said, I put a link for the audiobook on YouTube that you guys can listen to for free if you were interested in doing so. It's in the description, and then it goes into a lot more detail and probably like better examples than I could ever make, because I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. I'm not prepared, but yeah, did you guys think that that was beneficial for you to hear? Like, did you see how it can be used to your benefit, or do you think there might be something you will recognize more if you see it? Oh, you just woke up and missed them? Well, I mean, there's always the replay. I love my replay viewers just as much as my live viewers. Great to know and just be aware of. Yeah. Lots to absorb, but as I always say, knowledge is power. Exactly. I like to know as much as possible about anything. They are good thoughts, however, some of them are a bit short sighted. Yeah. Some were kind of snaky. But I mean, this is the shit that people do to us sometimes. If we're not aware and we don't see it, then, it's better to be able to recognize, like, hey, this person's strategizing against me right now. Like this person's acting kind of snaky. Like this seems like that 48 laws of power bullshit. It's good to hear how some people perceive relationship dynamics, and it's good to see how others might implement it. Awareness is good. Yeah. Everything I say is beneficial. I don't know about everything, but I enjoyed it. Took a couple notes for self-awareness. Thank you. You're welcome. So yeah. Is there anything else that you guys would like to discuss, talk about? I still got a little bit more time. I don't feel like I'm going to piss myself or anything, so I could stay on here a couple more minutes. Vietnamese chicken noodles. When I had pneumonia one time, we had a friend who brought us some Vietnamese noodle soup, and that shit was actually delicious. It's like the one and only time that I ate that, but yeah. Well, I don't know what that has to do with anything, Sea Org, but I'm like, that shit is good though. Oh, let's see, what's Ollie saying? Robert Greene also wrote The Laws of Human Nature. He said it was 6 years in the making, and is the culmination of my life's study of power, psychology, and history. I've actually I've never heard of that book, but that makes me want to read it, or well, probably listen to the audiobook. I'm just curious how much of it coincides with like the actual science of natural law, because I mean natural law is like laws of the universe as opposed to quote unquote human nature. I don't think humans really have a nature. We're just programmable. I mean, we're predispositioned to our nature, and then developed and programmed through our nurture. So you know I mean, it's complex and everything, but yeah, I'm just curious if his laws of human nature would coincide with like universal law, or if it would be more based on like the fact that humans are like inherently good or bad, or you know what I'm saying, if that makes sense. He also wrote Mastery and the Art of Seduction. The Art of Seduction, I've listened to that one on YouTube also. That one's really interesting as well. I'm like, maybe I'll go through a little bit of that one at some point. G.S. Org is an engineer from Perth. That's funny. Yeah, you're going to get hacked now for sure. Humans have actually reversed sexual selection in some ways. No shit. Yes, yes. Have I listened to Coast recently? No, actually, I'm sub to them on YouTube, but I turned the notifications like to just sometimes or whatever. Which, by the way, if you're on the channel still, switch your notification bell to the top one. That way you get all the notifications of my lives. I'm all, anyways, self plug. But they just a lot of the things that they've been having like within the past, I don't know, like year and a half or so have just been a little bit I don't know, it's getting like watered down to me, and it's kind of disappointing. But if it's been getting like good again, then I'll check it out. There's been some good episodes on stuff you'd like. It's just like, for instance, with all the like I used to be really interested in like alien theory, and just yeah, the alien episodes. That's what I'm saying. Like, but it ended up getting to a point where there was like like that Corey Good and the whole like Project Bluebeam, and the just I don't know. I don't There's a lot of shit that I just don't know if I buy. Like I feel like it's psyop shit, and it's not like it's put out there intentionally to deceive us, like so that we're not paying attention to what's really going on. I don't know. I mean, fuck. Like, it's hard being a conspiracy theorist who thinks that conspiracies are conspiracies. I'm like, if that even makes any sense, but you know what I'm saying with that. Yeah, it all started sounding made up, like, where I'm just like, I don't know if I buy that. I put it on and sleep to it. Yeah. I put on Lincoln Kane and go to sleep, and then I wake up and there's Mr. X and Bell yelling at each other. And Astonishing Legends. I've never heard of that. I will check that out. Hi, Nicole. Welcome. I turn off my disbelief and listen to it as if it's 100% fact and it's fun. I have a hard time doing that though, because I know how to think according to the trivium. So it's like, that whole, like, there's like the grammar, logic, rhetoric, like the whole logic part is where I get stuck sometimes and can't just take it in as if it's all 100% true, because my logic processing stage works of the thinking process. I don't know. When our emotions are engaged, we often have trouble seeing things as they are. Robert Greene, The Art of Seduction. This is true. This is why when people are in love, they do crazy shit. Oops. Great Reset is no joke and will impact every single one of us. Like watching a movie, you let it take you on a journey. I mean, if I was watching it for fiction, see, I almost feel like I would have to approach it in the complete opposite of what you're saying, but still like allow myself to become immersed in the story 100%, but know that I'm watching a movie or listening to a story, where I'm looking at it as complete fiction just for entertainment value is how I would have to approach that if I was going to allow it to take me on a journey. But I couldn't look at it like if it was 100% true with, I don't know. I have to analyze shit. I can't not analyze it for truth. A person who cannot control his words shows that he cannot control himself and is unworthy of respect. Yep. I mean, that's true sometimes. Yeah, like some of it is absolutely absurd, but it's fun. Do you use Goodreads to track what you read and see what friends are, etc.? No. I've never even heard of that. So, how do you feel about the 48 Laws of Power? How do you think someone might internalize it? Should they? Do you think they are helpful? Well, I think it's helpful in the sense that, I mean, some of them are like helpful for ourselves to implement, like for instance the one that was talking about conducting yourself as if you're royalty, as if you deserve respect so that other people will respect you, or stuff like that. I think is very positive that we should all do. I also think that it's important to recognize the more deceptive practices that other people might be doing and acting out, because we might be in somebody else's mind, the victim that's mentioned in some of these laws or whatever. So if we can recognize that behavior within other people, it gives us the advantage because we can see like, okay, no, I know what you're doing and you're not going to get away with that. And then we don't get you know, schmoozed over by their bullshit. And we have, the wherewithal at that point to make better decisions for ourselves. So, Alley Cattails, why do I picture your house having a framed quote in each room and 2 in the bathroom? Right? It does seem like that. She has framed cats in every room. How to Create Miracles in Your Life, Stuart Wilde. Law of Attraction Power, Stuart Wilde. What about The Secret? Have you guys ever read that or heard of that? Which is basically the law of attraction. Maybe I'll go over that one a little bit too. There's a lot of really good books and stuff with a lot of good knowledge, but it's like in this day and age with, people just like having such busy work schedules or kids or whatever, and then at the same time, just wanting like your free time to be free time where you don't really want to think much or do a bunch of work or read. You know, it's like a lot sometimes to pick up a book and like actually read it from cover to cover. But I like how this one, the 48 Laws of Power specifically, like I like this format where it just goes over like pretty much the surface level basics of stuff at the very beginning, and then it tells you what page you can find it on, whatever, where you can at least get like the Cliff's Notes version. You know, and then we can have like a surface level discussion like this on YouTube. Like I think that this worked out really good. I liked it. You had the same distributor as what? Your background is very nice. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Kathleen H, for the $5 super chat. Great show, Danny. I really appreciate it. Oh, the documentary of The Secret. Yeah. It's cosmic. I love all the different stuff in the backdrop. Thank you. No, it's a Galaxy 3D wallpaper. And then I just have like my little LED tree that I got at State Line. Or no, I got that one in Jean, Nevada on the way home from Vegas one day. It was like $110 for that little tree. But I like it though. It made me happy when I saw it. I was like, I need that. And then my little like Buddha water fountain thing. It's like you probably can't hear it so much, but it's got like that, you know, that waterfall sound. It's really peaceful. What video do you want? If I'm not going to get copyright struck for it, but what's the one book you'd recommend people read? Hmm. Let me think. I know that if I answer this like just off the top of my head, I'm going to go back later and think of a whole different answer that I should have given. So give me a few minutes to consider this one. I'm trying to think like, I mean, for whatever reason, like the first thing that popped into my head was 1984, but I'm sure that there's other things that I'll consider and then be like, oh, I should have said that one. Yeah, it does depend on what you're looking for. Like, it's so good. Just pause and react to is every now and then, and you'll be fine. Not always, though, Seorg. Like, it depends. And YouTube is being like all kinds of crazy right now with people, and I just don't want. Let me see. Let me look at it real quick first.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. What is the charge?
Okay, let's see. Aussie TV. They don't. Do you know if they strike people ever, or if they like? Do they let people use their content? I don't know. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let me look it up over here. Go to my history. Okay. All right, let me switch to this one. Okay.
A meal, a succulent Chinese meal.
American Express investigator followed a man he thought was one of Queensland's most wanted to a Valley restaurant. Minutes later, police had the business surrounded, then sent in a delegation.
We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what? Come on. Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Democracy Manifest.
And he didn't appreciate the way he was handled.
See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
It took 6 officers to restrain him, whose major concern was the meal he'd left behind.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Eventually, they had him in custody.
I believe that it's all to do with stolen credit cards.
I understand that he has played small parts in numerous amateur theatre groups. He seems to be just a prolific false pretender.
But only hours after his arrest, the watch house granted him bail, leaving the police red-faced and empty-handed.
We are sincerely sorry that he obtained bail, but under this situation he was allowed to have bail.
Edwards is also wanted for questioning in New South Wales over several forgery matters.
So I'm like, I don't get it. What was he? I know, right? Like, totally off topic. Like, why did they go arrest him while he was eating? For, like, the forgery or whatever that they were talking about at the end? Oh, you're eating a succulent Chinese meal right now. Yeah, I know. They have, like, Australians have this weird comedy. It's funny, though. I like their sense of humor. And I like how they call everyone a fucking cunt. But yeah, so I'm still confused what he was getting arrested for, though. Oh, he was a dine and dasher? So they went to, like, arrest him before he had the opportunity to do that? I mean, that would make sense. Maybe why he was, like, concerned about his succulent Chinese meal. Caring Americans never gets old. The laws of the universe should be taught in schools all across the earth. What a different world we would be living in. My very first live stream I ever did was a review of a documentary by Mark Passio called The Science of Natural Law, I believe. And it was really interesting to pause it in the video because, like, basically what he did was he went out to the street and he asked, like, just regular people questions about, like, natural law, morality, right versus wrong, things like that. And it was interesting to stop the video and also ask my audience, which I only had, I think, like 11 people watching live or something, because, like I said, it was my first live. But it was, like, interesting to see the people's responses compared to the people out on the street, and then it be actually described by Mark Passio in objective terms, like what the truth of the answer would be. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can logically, like, process the information and stuff, certain things, like laws of the universe, like, do have objective truth, but some people will think that things are subjective when they absolutely shouldn't be, you know? The number watching doesn't matter. It's your legacy. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, I didn't have that much feedback, which sucked. Like, it would almost be interesting probably to, like, do the same thing again now that I have more people who watch me live, because I would be interested to see what people, like, in this community, especially with, like, a bigger pool of people to, you know, to ask, like, what the answers would be. But yeah. I don't think it's difficult to describe morality. Don't do unto others as you would not have them do unto you. If you treat people, or if you don't treat people in a way that you don't want to be treated, you're more than likely acting within morality, if you think about it. Because it's basically like, don't hurt others. You know, don't commit violence or theft against other people. And it's pretty much that simple. But people try to make it all like really complex when it's actually not at all. Hi, Smile Now, Cry Later. Welcome. So, okay. Anyways, you just got here, but I'm pretty much done. I don't know if I really have anything else to say. I believe that's a commandment. That should be a commandment. It's difficult to debate. Well, if you can establish like what consists of violence as opposed to what is force, that's like the first step, because some people will say like people confuse the two. First of all, there's there's a lot that you have to like establish as like definitions, like objective definitions of stuff, and then once you realize that, then it's like you can start to understand morality in pretty much any situation, like what would be moral, what would be right. But I do believe that there's definitely an objective right and wrong, for sure. No, I did not get an email you sent last night. I'm gonna have to look. Let me look. Yeah, hit that Cash App. Danny is dry as fuck over here. That's ridiculous. It was lots of fun. Thanks for showing us the 48 laws. No problem. Let me see. I'm like, before I sign off, I do want to check. Read it out loud. I sent. Okay. I really enjoyed tonight and learned a lot. Thank you for sharing and bring knowledge to everyone. No problem. Let's see. Arkansas, I didn't get anything from you last night unless it's in my spam. Let me look. No. Nope. Can you send it again, whatever it was? Oh, it doesn't have to be dumb. You can resend. I just didn't get it. Whatever you tried to send me, I don't know why. It was porn. Read what out loud? Because I don't have anything new from you either, Mr. X. Except the show me your tits or show us your tits Cash App, which I did read out loud. No. So yeah. Yeah, you can send it again. Now we'll read. Yeah, so anyways, I hope everyone has a good night. And it was silly. Okay, well. Oh, you wanted me to read Arkansas's email out loud? Yeah, well, it didn't even send, so I don't know. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Sanjo. No. Love you too, Tainted Ink. It said beware of the X. He's harmless. Come on. No. Oops. Fully erect pics, I hope. It's not much different. Just saying. I'm all, if you know, you know. Okay, well, have a good night, everyone. Talk to you guys next time.